Hello everyone and namaskar. This is Dr. Sudarshan Sambajirao Pedgi, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Kalasa Shirasika Mahavidyalaya Devani. In the last lecture, we have studied the abiotic components. In the abiotic component, there are three abiotic components we have studied. That is, the first one is the light, second temperature, and third one is the water. Right. So now today we will focus on biotic components. Okay. So first of all, one thing is clear here, that is the abiotic and biotic. Means abiotic means the non-living substances and biotic means living organisms. Okay, that is the biotic factors include the living organism of the environment. Okay, for example, plants, animals, bacteria, viruses. Okay, these are the examples of biotic factors as well as biotic components. Okay, and these biotic factors is totally depends on the abiotic factors. Okay, for their survival. If it is when anyone is absent or present, that will be effect on biotic organism or biotic factor as well as biotic components. If it is higher temperature is there, that time it also be affect on the biotic organism. If it is lower temperature is there, that will be the effects on biotic factor. And if it is not present, if it is the water is not present, that's why we cannot do anything. Okay, that is, it means the biotic factors of the ecosystem depends on the abiotic factor for their survival. Okay, and the biotic factors of an ecosystem are classified into three main groups, namely, first one is the producer, second one is the consumers, and third one is the decomposers. Okay, so we will see one by one. So first is the producer, the organism which carry out photosynthesis constitute the producer of an ecosystem. Okay, means those organism carry out photosynthesis process, that organism is called as producer, right? For example, plants, algae, and bacteria. Okay, some cyanobacteria contain, that is the chlorophyll pigment is there, and they have prepare own food material with the help of that chlorophyll pigments. Okay, that is the one particular pigments. It will be helpful for the preparation of own food material. Okay, that is the producer. Okay, the producer depend on the, and the producer is also depends on the abiotic factor of the ecosystem for producing energy. Okay, why? Because it contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is used for the synthesis of food with the utilization of abiotic factors like CO2, light, water, and minerals. This process, total process, is called as photosynthesis. Means all plants and algae as well as these bacteria contain one pigment is there. Okay, that chlorophyll, that pigment is called chlorophyll pigment, and that chlorophyll pigment, it will be the synthesis of food with the utilization of abiotic factors like light, CO2, water, minerals, and that total process is called as photosynthesis, right? It is clear. And the producer use inorganic substances of the abiotic factors and convert them into organic food materials. Okay, means there is the one particular things present in the uh, organisms or all living organism. They have taken inorganic substance in the ecosystem, and that inorganic substance, it will be converted into the organic food materials. Okay, that is the one particular capability of the living organisms. Okay. And a portion of the food synthesized is used by the producers for their growth and survival, and the remaining food is stored for future use. Okay. It is the uh, if you not uh, prepare food material, that material is the very important to our growth as well as the survival of the fittest. Okay. And if it is not remain any kind of food or store any kind of food, that time our future is very dangerous, because the some scarcity is there. That time that food it will be use, useful. Next is the consumer. Consumers are organisms which eat other organism called consumers. What is meant by the consumers? Consumers are organisms which eat other organism called consumers. Okay. And it means that is the totally depends on the producers. Okay. Means all animals are the consumers. Why? Because it totally depend on other organisms. Okay. The consumers are further divided into three subtypes. That is the number one is the primary consumer, second one is the secondary consumer, and third one is the tertiary consumer. In that, first one is the primary consumer. They eat the producer like plants, algae, and bacteria. Okay, they eat the producer like plant, algae, and bacteria, and that primary consumers are also called as herbivores. Why? Because they have totally depends on the plant, algae, and bacteria. Okay, that is the that we call it as that is the primary consumers or herbivores, right? And uh, one scientist, it will be referred as these primary consumers is the key industry animals. Okay, okay. That is another example of a primary consumer. The rabbit, deer, cow, goat, etc. are a primary consumer in terrestrial ecosystem. Okay. Another next one is the secondary consumer. In the secondary consumer, they kill and eat the herbivores. They kill and eat the herbivores. They are also called carnivores. Okay, or secondary consumers. Why? Because those animals is totally depends on the primary consumer. Okay, they kill and eat means they kill and eat the herbivores called secondary consumers, and that we call it as that is the carnivores. Why? Because it totally depends on the another animals. Okay, as these carnivores directly depend on herbivores, and they are called as primary carnivores. Okay, because the wolf and sorry, for example, fox, wolf, etc. Okay, these are the totally depends on the herbivores. Okay, they have firstly kill and then eat. Okay, that is the that consumers is also called as primary carnivores also. Oh, why? Because it totally depends on the herbivores, that we call it that is the primary carnivores. Okay. And the are the totally collectively is called as secondary consumer in a terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, another next one is the third one is the tertiary consumer. Okay, in the tertiary consumer, they kill and eat the secondary consumer. Okay, They are called secondary carnivores. Okay, they kill and eat the secondary consumer. As a so that we call it as that is the secondary carnivores. Okay, for example, lion, tiger. These are the main and important example of tertiary consumer. Okay, another last part of the biotic factor is the third, that is the reducer or decomposer. Okay, after the death of tertiary consumer as well as primary as well as secondary consumer, the reducers or decomposers are the organism. That organism, it will be the break up the dead bodies of plants and their waste products. They include fungi and certain bacteria. Okay, they secrete one particular enzymes, and that enzymes is easily digest the dead organism and the debris into the smaller bit or molecules. Okay, it will be the converted into the debris and the smaller molecules, and these molecules are absorbed by the reducers. Okay, after taking energy, the reducers release molecules to the environment as a chemicals to be again by the producers. Okay, means the that reducer release one particular molecules in the environment, and these chemicals it will be again used by the producers. That is the one particular food chain is there. Okay, it means energy transfer from one phase to the another phase. Okay, that is called as the biotic components. Okay, so today we will see that is the biotic components. Okay, in the biotic components is the all living organisms are biotic. Okay, it contains there is the producers and producer, consumer and decomposer. These are the three subtypes. In that three subtypes or three main groups, the first main group is the producer, and they have produce own food material. Okay, and with the help of photosynthesis process. Okay, for example, plants, algae and bacteria, these were uh, own food materials, and the producer is totally depends on the biotic factors also. Okay, and the total formation of food material is the photosynthesis process, and that it will be the formation of food material. Okay, that is the producers, and another that is the consumers. We have also studied in that primary consumer, secondary and tertiary consumer. In the primary consumer, they eat the producer. Okay, like plants and algae, called the herbivores also. Okay, another that is the secondary consumer, in that they kill and eat the herbivores. Okay, they are also called as carnivores. And first of all, that is the it totally depends on the herbivores. They are called as primary carnivores, such as fox and wolf, example of primary carnivores, and that collectively called it as that is the secondary consumer. And last that is the tertiary consumer, and that tertiary consumer they kill and eat the secondary consumer, and they are also called secondary carnivores. Okay, for example, lion and tiger. Another that is the third and last part of the biotic component is the producer or decomposer. They have one particular enzyme. With that, in that enzyme will be useful for the degradation of dead bodies, plants as well as waste product, and after that degradation, one chemical or one particular molecules, it will be the again used by the producer. So today we will completed the components of an ecosystem topic. So thank you very much all of